All right, welcome to the next slide. So this slide, what we are seeing about ISO 27001 is the distribution. This map is an old map updated in 2014, and this is as per the old standard coverage. Of course, the new standard has replaced it. So this shows the coverage of ISO 27001 certification around the globe, like in which countries, in which part of the world it is very much prevalent. It also means that the companies in these part of the world are using ISO 27001 to showcase or to comply with their information security management standard. This particular diagram and these type of data can be checked on various websites. I have taken this from the ISO website itself. Anyone can go to iso.org and get the link checked. Now let's understand, how does ISO IEC 27001 work. So what is ISO first of all? Before going to that, I will go a bit out of the topic. So let's understand what is ISO. So ISO is, in short form, it is called International Organization for Standardization. Of course, the full form or the short form is not in alignment with the word. It's ISO instead of iOS, but yeah, it's called ISO. And International Electrochemical Commission is like another body which creates these standards together. So why we need ISO in the world is so that every company can operate in a standard form, and many of the common technologies can be interusable. I will give you one example. Everyone today uses mobile phones. So right now we have few standard charging ports, right? The old phones used to come with something like a micro USB. Right now Type C is prevalent. In iPhones it was the Thunderbolt port, but there also from iPhone 15 we have Type C. So even if it is Android or it is an Apple, the standard charger is a Type C charger, USB Type C charger. So those kind of standardization is needed. Similarly, to implement security and to have a lot of interchangeable resources, interchangeable common what you call terminologies, we need common standards or common book of law across the globe, so that industry can interoperate, mechanics can interoperate, and IT can interoperate, and the cybersecurity part also can interoperate with each devices. So that's why we need these international standards, which could be common to every organization if they want to adapt to it. So this is the role of ISO, and this 27001, this is a group of standard which is called ISO 27001 standard, and it has various standard like 27001 and 2, uh, and also 27005, and there are many others. But here in this course we are focusing on ISO 27001 standard. So this standard was created mainly to focus on the protection of the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information in a company. As I said, we will cover the confidentiality, integrity, and availability part, that what they are. Uh, but yeah, how this is done, we will look to it further. But let's understand, like this is done by finding out what potential problem could happen to the information. I will give you one example, that when I say that we have to protect confidentially of the information, what it means in general terms. So confidentiality of the information is the part of the information which cannot be disclosed, which is a secret. If it is disclosed, it will lead to identity theft, it can lead to other security safeguards, it can lead to financial losses. But anything which a company want to hide, which is like a secret, so we have to protect that particular secret, which we call confidentiality of the information. The best example will be your password, right? So your password is a confidential information. If it is leaked out, anyone can access your account. It can create problems, or it can create wrong things with your account. It can steal your data. So that's why we need to protect that as a part of the information. Another example of confidentiality could be your PAN card, your something like identity proof, or maybe your mobile passcodes, so that anything which is linked through that cannot be stolen. Another financial information could be your, if you are a business person, it could be your pricing part, which is very confidential to your customer. It also avoids like competitors to take due advantages. Now let's come to integrity. Now integrity means the data information should not be altered or should not be miscommunicated. One example of integrity is, for example, you are giving a financial information with a price quote of a particular packet to your customer or to your business or to your end user. Now, let's say if somebody fudged the integrity and instead of asking or mentioning the price which is originally mentioned as, let's say, $10, they are mentioning it as $20. That means it's a wrong information. This can also happen in balance sheets where the calculation can go wrong due to data integrity problem and people are seeing wrong pictures. So this is called integrity problem. Of course, this can also be like altered if your data is hacked in between. So another focus of 27001 is to protect integrity of the data. Now coming to the availability part. Availability is another important factor in keeping the data up and running. So in availability means that your data should be available all the time when it is in use. For example, if you are running a database or maybe a website which your customers are trying to access, the best example in this case is amazon.in or amazon.com, right? So for example, if the site goes down, then what will happen? There will be a huge sale loss for that period of time, and in terms of bigger organization, the sale loss will go more and more big. So availability is very key thing. So we have to ensure that whatever happens, the site should never go down in these cases or as per the business requirement, right? So this is the third piece where this ISO 27001 focuses, that we have to secure the availability of the data. The things should be available in the time they are supposed to be. So how we will ensure that? That we will of course understand in further of this chapter. Now let's understand how these things are done. So as we talked about these three components of data safety, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, this is done by finding the potential problem. As I said, risk assessment. So how the risk assessment is done, right? So I will mention that in the coming slide, of course. But for right now, let's understand it like that. That risks are something which need to be found out first and then treated. And as per the treatment, we do the safeguard implementation. The safeguards here are called controls, which ISO 27001 mentions in their list. Okay, these are the control as per ISO 27001 which you need to follow or implement in your company. So in general terms, you can call it safeguard, but as I said, ISO 27001 also helps us in developing a common terminology which is used across the industries, across the standard organization. So the word here is not safeguard, it is called controls, which are generally implemented in forms of policies, procedures. Like you create some policies that, okay, this is what you should do, not do, this is how you should follow or execute a particular project. And then the technical implementation, that you implement things like firewall, antivirus in your machines, so that you safeguard against technical attacks. So these are the two components or three components how we ensure that we are implementing controls or safeguards against the risks which can lead to the loss in confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. So in a nutshell, we are trying to protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. How we do that? We find out the risk and we treat those problems with the help of ISO 27001 control, and we protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. In the coming chapters, I will not be using the entire term confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It's very tough to pronounce. What I will do is I will use the word CIA, that's the common word as a short form which is used to address these terms. CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So again, I'm just summarizing and closing this chapter. So the main purpose and how it works is that to protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability of our data for a company, we do a risk assessment, we find out the problems or the gaps, and then we treat that with the help of ISO 27001 controls, and we ensure that the controls are implemented and in place. Then I'm now reversing my logic that we implement ISO 27001 control to safeguard the risks or to treat the risks which can lead to confidentiality, integrity, and availability loss of data. So I hope this is understood. If you want more information, please let me know in the comment box. And thank you so much for watching the video.